going live. It's just about 11 o'clock. My water. Hello. Welcome. I'm going to wait a little bit and then I'm going to start painting. Hello. We're painting this picture today. All right. I'm going to be using my oil pastels. Anyway, I'm going to wait a little bit longer. I'm going to pull some colors out, actually. So, here's my picture. And I'm going to definitely use pale yellow. A lot of yellow in the sky. And then I think I'm going to use this. It's kind of this peach. Kind of a light peach, beige color. These are both Van Gogh oil pastels. And then we're gonna use a little lavender. Hello, hey guys, welcome. I'm kind of just pulling my colors out, kind of just getting my palette ready to go. I'm just looking at the picture and kind of just finding the colors here. It's kind of the first thing I do is I just scan the picture. So we got a yellow, a peach, kind of this ultramarine, lavender. Hello. And let's go with some gray. Definitely going to use this kind of this green gray because there's a lot of grays in here. And we'll do a light gray. Let's see, maybe this ash gray, possibly. Definitely lots of greens, but we'll save that for later, and possibly some of these. All right, so I'm going to start with my yellow here. I'm just going to work on the sky back here. So I'm kind of be working from back to front. So I'm going to get all this space back here first. And so we're just going to go with a lot of yellow right here in the middle. So this is a Van Gogh oil pastel. Hope you guys can see that. Let me know if you're having difficulty seeing what I'm doing here. It's kind of bright in the studio, so I can kind of turn these shades down if that helps. So I'm gonna get some yellow here. And I like to take the papers off because it makes it really easy to use the whole stick. And see a lot of yellow there. I'm going to change to this peach here. This is another Van Gogh. And I'm going to do this side over here. I'm going to go in this peach color. So this is pastel matte. Clairefontaine pastel matte paper. It's my favorite paper for pastels. It's a little bit smoother, but it's got kind of a soft sanded feel to it. Okay. Get that color really scrubbed in. This paper can take a lot of layers. It can handle a lot. All right, back to my yellow. Kind of go over the edges of that. Okay, I want to brighten that up a little bit, so I'm going to bring in a maybe a little white. I don't normally start with white, but I'm going to just tone that yellow down a little bit. So I'm just kind of thinking about the sky, like I'm not really thinking about anything else. I just want to get that background sky in. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to work down, and I see a lot of blues, like these lavenders. You can see the blue in there. Kind of like right in here, especially right here, and even on the side. So we're going to use a little of this ultramarine blue, or basically like a lavender, light lavender color. And it's kind of like right here. Just kind of like that. So right like that. And go up in the sky a little bit. Okay. And then this green gray, it's just basically a really kind of grayish green here. We're going to kind of get that in down in this area. I'm kind of thinking about like right in here between the branches, kind of the back part of the scene. I'm going to go with this color right here for that. If you look in there, you can kind of in between the branches, you can kind of see that background green, kind of blue on this side, and it kind of goes up into the sky a little bit. And that lavender also here. So, my first layers is just really just blocking color out. I'm not really working on details here. I'm just kind of getting the background the way I want it. Okay, I'm going to blend this out. I'm going to bring in a stump to help me. So these are stumps. Helps you with blending. And just got to find the right one. All right. Let's try this one. Okay. So I'm just gonna try to blend this color together here. Hopefully it's not too shaky for you guys. I got this phone harnessed to my chest, so just hope it doesn't shake too much for you. So I'm getting a little color from the stump that's coming onto the yellow here, which is okay. It's just a little bit, but I'm gonna have to go over again to kind of get that out. So I imagine this will probably be about a 3-hour job right here. Just to let you know. Might be a little boring. And I'm just gonna really just kind of try to blend that out a little bit. All right, let's bring in some more color. I'll go again on top of that. I work in a lot of layers, so I put a lot down. I overlap colors. And these are the Van Gogh oil pastels, so the consistency of these are a little on the harder side. which is important because I'm going to be working in layers here. So as I bring the layers forward, I'll change to the softer oil pastels. And that's how you can kind of stack the colors on top of each other like that. Okay, and a little bit of white. A little bit of white kind of tones it down a little. See, I got a little bit of white here. This little stick. That kind of tones that yellow a little bit for me. And I think I'm going to add a little oil to the surface. So this is oil. This is just oil and wax only. There's no color in here. And it's basically medium. It's medium for oil pastel. So it's the same as like, I don't know, like a terp or a mineral spirit or something where you want to spread the color out. And I'm just going to add a lot of oil to the surface here, and this is going to really help me blend. You just add it right over the top of these colors here. And this will help really blend the colors together and help get a kind of a smoother finish to it. Okay. And then you can even take more color on top of that. So the surface is really, it's really got a sticky, waxy kind of feel. All right, and then we're just gonna start blending again. And it gets easier to blend the more oil you put down on it. Kind of this circular blend helps to get the colors kind of mixed and going. See, I got that nice subtle transition from this yellow into this peach. It's kind of this peach, warm peach color. These stumps are really handy. I mean, I'd have to do this with my thumbs, which I could, but you can save the skin on your fingers and get these stumps. It really helps. So another way to blend with oil pastels is just to use like a turpentine or mineral spirits or something like that, where you can cut through the oil and use a brush and kind of paint with it. And I used to do that, but it just felt too much like oil painting. And so I found that oil blender stick, and that really changed it for me. Started using that instead. Okay, and just kind of spread that color out. Probably doesn't look like much to you guys, but in person here I can really see the paper getting covered. Get up in the corners. Okay. I'm going to turn it. You see my stump here has got the yellow on this side, and on this side I have like a green, so I'm going to bring that. Use the other side here and blend down in this area. And just cover the paper up. I'm covering all the white little marks, the texture of the paper. Just make sure I cover all that up. I'm going to put some more color into it, some more yellow. All right, you guys are still here. I know it's not the most exciting thing to watch, but I figured I need to do some more lives because I want to start doing some more like videos like this. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Spent a lot of time on it, but that's pretty good, I think. I like to transition it with the yellow to this orange or peach. Okay. All right, let's look at, I'm gonna turn my little heater off. Okay, so here's the picture. So what I was doing there is I'm just working in the sky. I'm looking at the colors in the sky, this yellow, and it kind of filters out, and and then I look at the blues and the grays in the background, and that's what I'm really just looking at. And so then that's what this is here. So I'm not worried about the trees right now or where the creek runs or how it runs, but I'm just really looking at this background sky here. Background colors. You can see the blue in there. You see the blue. That's a distant hill or something probably. Right? And of course we have the sun here. And now we'll do that later, but that'll be about right here probably. All right, so let's get in, let's start working on these trees, these distant trees here, these far ones. And it's really just a gray, and I think I'm just gonna go with this green gray and see how that looks. So right about here, yeah, the trees. Just kind of draw in some distant big trees back in there. Back in there. I just go right over that yellow with this green gray. And over here even. Okay. The more pressure I put into it, the more color comes off, and so I can make it darker, just by putting more pressure into it. Get some trees here. And I don't copy the photo exact. The photo represents an image. If I need to look at something, the way the light's kind of filtering through it. This is just an impression of the photo. The parts that I enjoyed about it, like the light that's coming through here. So this green gray is great for this kind of distant tree stuff, These background trees in here. So even up in here, you can see it's mostly that back in there. And I'm very just kind of, because I still want some of that sky color to kind of poke through. I don't want the whole thing to be covered, so I'm very just kind of loose with that. Remember, more trees are going to be coming up through this, so I don't have to worry about details because a lot of this is going to get covered up. Okay, so I like that these are darker than that. Kind of thinking about the values of the colors now. That these are further than these, so these can be a little darker. It's lighter pressure. Obviously the yellow's changing that color there compared to over here. All right, and then we have even down here. Just gonna use this green to cover most of this up. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask or try to answer your questions the best I can. So right now I'm still using the Van Goghs. These are the Van Goghs oil pastels. It's a pretty decent brand. It's they're not relatively expensive either. Kind of make the trees as natural looking as I can figure out. Not really looking at my picture. I'm kind of just knowing that this stuff back here is going to be a lot of this color here, a lot of trees back in here. Okay. And this is that green gray. It's called Verona gray or Verona green, something like that. All right, so that's I'm kind of working this back in here. So there's that blue, that's kind of like right here. That blue, right? It's kind of like right here, right about here. So kind of blew that part up a little bit. And then this green, the same green I was using up in here, I'm going to kind of come over a little bit. Maybe like different marks. Maybe there's like branches and stuff back in there. And cover this white. So I like to work on white. I don't know why. I've always just done it in the beginning. And I just work right on the white. I've tried working on different tones, and I don't know. I like the way the white works with the colors, actually. You can use the white of the paper to make the colors brighter in a lot of sense. So I'm just pressing down. I'm putting a little bit more pressure down, and that gets me a darker mark. Kind of using the edge of the stick here to kind of really dig into the paper. Get a tree here that kind of pops a little closer to us. looking pretty cool, actually. I'm just kind of worrying about the background stuff back in here. That's what I'm doing back there. All right, let's do a little blending. Let's see. That's blue. I don't want to use this one. This one will be okay. It's got a little purple in it, but it'll work. And again, I'm just going to worry about just covering the white. You see the white here in the paper? I just want to cover that up. Sorry, a little shaky. Pastel mat is, this paper really keeps the marks where you put them. So this paper doesn't really like to spread the color out as easily on some of the other papers out there. But what I like about pastel mat is you can get a lot of layers of colors. And that's why I choose it for most of my work, because I can stack a lot of layers of colors without using a fixative. Anyway. I also like the Arches cold press oil paper, which is also good for oil pastels. And that's more of a textured paper, but it's really nice to work on. All right, so I kind of covered a lot of that white in here, at least in this part. Okay. So this hill here, there's a lot of brighter greens here, and I'm going to do that later on. I'm kind of just working on just finding a neutral color to just work in the foreground here. And I think I'm going to go with a brown, like a chocolate brown, kind of like this one right here. It's got a lot of gray in it, but I think we're going to do that for the foreground, just to block out the color. And so this brown here, if you look at it, kind of this cocoa grayish brown. This is a, this is a Neo Pastel right here, this brand. All right, so just cover the paper. Don't worry about the details of anything down here. We're gonna add that to the top of all that. So just gonna cover this paper up. Oh, I have a question. Hello. What kind of paper? Yes, good question. So I'm using Pastel mat. Pastel mat. You can see this is a 12 by 16 inch pad of paper here that comes in 12 sheets. This cost me like $64, $65, something like that. So, you know, you're over $5 per sheet of paper for this. It's spendy. It's expensive paper, but it's the best for my style, for how I do work with it. And so that's what I'm using here. So I'm just gonna rub in this, this chocolate gray, I call it. It's got a lot of gray in it, but it's definitely got this brown chocolate cocoa color to it. Okay. And we're gonna blend this up. So let's see, should I use the same one here? I'll just use the same one. So the first layer doesn't really blend that well. You can see not much happening. It takes a while for the oil pastel to really move around. I could add oil to this, but I'm not going to do that because I know I'm going to add a lot of layers to the foreground. And if I add the oil now, it's going to get too slick and it's going to get too greasy. And I won't be able to get those layers that I'm going to need to make this foreground really pop and really come forward. So knowing that ahead of time, I'm not going to use oil yet. Because if I were to use oil here, I could really blend the color out, really smooth it out, really cover the paper. But then I'm going to have a problem later on. Up here, there's going to be less layers, so I went ahead and used the oil up there. But down here, where I know I'm going to add a lot of layers and more details, I'm going to hold off on the oil. So let's add some more color. Just get some more coverage. I really try to get down to the edges here. Or maybe, so I get a nice clean edge when I pull the tape back. Just bring in more colors. And I'm just adding a little bit of color every time I pass over it. Okay, and then let's blend it out. You can even use your fingers, and that might actually work best for right here. Maybe able to get a better blend using my hand here. Okay, I'm just thinking about covering the white of the paper here. It's really the only thing I need to worry about at this stage. Hello, everybody. I know this ain't the most exciting thing to watch, but thanks for watching and joining. Feel free to ask questions. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit more of this chocolate gray into it. So different surfaces and different papers, obviously you're gonna get a different look. It's gonna work differently for you. And of course the brand of oil pastel you're using. It all comes into play. You know, different techniques and such. So this is pastel matte, and this paper can take a lot of colors. It can take a lot of layers. All right, that's pretty good. I got pretty much the paper covered up. Make sure I get into the edges and the corners. Yes. Watching from Belgium. Hello. Hello, Belgium. That's so cool. Thanks for telling me you're from Belgium. That's great. I've never been there. Would love to. Been to Paris, though. Been to Paris. I was in Paris 10 years ago. We were there for, my wife and I, we were there for, 10 days, I think it was. Yeah, it was great. All right, I'm just kind of taking this blue, this lavender, and just kind of working this back part again here. Okay. All right, let's just take a look at that. And here's the picture. This is the reference picture again. You can see, oh, it doesn't look anything like the reference picture, but what I'm doing is I'm working on these background colors, okay? These grays, these blues, these grays, this yellow in the sky. That's what I'm focusing on right here. The brown, just kind of a general color for the area, right? All right, so let's keep adding. Let's bring in some of these big trees and kind of get the scene a little bit more closer. So I have a big tree here, got another one here, this one here, and these little ones, and a couple of big ones over here. So let's find my brown, this brown right here. Let's do this one first. So this is about right here. I'm gonna raise my easel up a little bit. Yeah, about here. And the tree just kind of goes up. All right, of course, as the tree gets to the base, it gets a little wider. But there you go. Nice, good size. Okay. That's this guy right there. Let's go over here and do this one. This kind of leans into the scene. I kind of like that one. It's more closer to the foreground down here. Hello, people. Maybe like right here. Nice big tree right there. And it's got a twin right next to it. Right here, you see that? And most of it's out, but I'm gonna put more of it in, I think. So this one's gonna come right up like this. This is just your dark brown color. Okay. And now let's get in this one right here. This little guy right here that kind of comes into the scene right about here. And maybe it goes like that. It's kind of got this curve at the base of it. And actually, let's make it go all the way up. All right. And then we have this one here that's getting really hit by the sun, but I'm not going to use a brown for that. Instead, I'm going to go to this next one right here, which is roughly about right here, maybe. Kind of just eyeballing this, right? Doesn't have to be exact. So maybe like right here. Yeah, right there. And this goes up. Up. Kind of leans the other way. Okay. And a little shadow. Some shadows. Remember, our light's going to be like right here, so we can start putting in some shadows. Okay. All right, now some of these other trees, like there's another one that's kind of smaller. kind of distant, smaller branch tree trunks back in there. Maybe even over here. This one kind of just leaves the scene. All right, now let's change. So that was this dark brown. Let's go with the this foreground color that I used here, this chocolate brown, and let's do this middle tree with this one, which is about, like, you see this tree right here, where the sun's kind of piercing through it. It's like right dab in the middle, like right here. You can see when I take it right over the yellow how the value of the color changes. It gets a lot lighter. So it's basically, this color is just kind of cutting through it. You can see it's pulling off the yellow. All right, that's pretty cool. That's that middle tree, that one. And then we're gonna do a couple more kind of next to it. There's one back in there, it kind of goes out. This tree, it kind of does this. Kind of a crooked tree right here. Okay. So you see how value changes. I have lighter, a little bit darker, and then the darkest. So you kind of make that sense of space, right? A lot of trees back in here. I think I'm going to change it though to a different kind of gray. So this is that chocolate gray. Let's go a little bit different. Let's try these guys. Maybe this one too. Hey everybody, got more people watching. All right, so this is just a darker gray. There's some blues, kind of a bluish tint to it too. And I'm just kind of bringing in more dimension with it. It's got this really nice blue, so it works well with this lavender here, but it's just a little bit darker. So I'm kind of coming in between the background color and kind of going over some of it with this to just add something a little darker back there. branches. Yes, branches. Be cool when these when we get the light really in, we're gonna shine a lot of these branches up, highlight them and stuff. That'll look really good. Nice. Got this nice lavender, this great color combination here going. Let's look at the picture. I haven't really looked at that for a little while. Just kind of getting lost a little bit. All right. So I have some big branches actually coming down from the top. You can see these big branches here. Big ones. They're coming down from the top. So let's see if we can work on that. Hey everybody. Y'all sticking with me? It's pretty cool. All right, so this tree, you see these branches here coming down. It's kind of a indication of that. And then over here, there's actually these big branches coming off this tree. Try to make them, you know, a little different, I guess, right? Some are a little longer than others, right? All right, and this tree right here, there's branches on this guy. And then that's pretty much, there's actually another big tree back in here I'm gonna kind of bring in a little bit better. Because it's got these branches that kind of do this. All right, so, you know, just make branches, right? This chocolate, this dark brown is good for these distant, more closer trees here. All right, so I'm gonna take a stump and I'm gonna, let's use this one. And I'm just gonna go over these and just kind of fill it in a little bit better and kind of cover more of that yellow that comes through. a little bit more solid. Same with this one here. These stumps are great because you can use it like, you can hold it different ways. Kind of use it like a pencil. Okay. Keep going. Let's see. So in about 8 or 9 minutes, my Instagram is gonna stop because I think at about the hour mark, it stops your recording. So that'll be in about 8 or 9 minutes. So I'll just get back right on and you guys can join if you want. But Instagram does that. I think about every hour it knocks you off. All right, just kind of filling in these trees. Okay, I'm gonna use my finger here for this one. And this one back here. Kind of the stump, kind of just going over some of these marks. These will be shadows eventually. And these big branches here that come from the top, you can connect those to the top of the paper. All right, let's take a look. Nice. So we got the values working really well. Got the distant trees, kind of the middle ones, and then the closer ones here. It's already creating that three-dimensional feel. All right, let's try to get some of this foreground. Maybe we can make like a little stream. See this little creek that comes through and it kind of splits up. Kind of some of it comes down here in the front. And then there's like this little island and then the rest of it kind of goes back in there. So let's work on that. Let's make that come out a little bit. And let's just study it. Let's look at the color. It's really just a blue or like a grayish blue with some brighter colors here. But really that's just kind of a lavender here, which is kind of this color right there. But I'm also going to bring in a little bit of this. And I'm going to bring in that silver gray. Sorry, I'm just kind of thinking out loud. Maybe some of this. And some white. Not yet. We'll save the white. Maybe some of this cream. No, I'm going to save that too. Maybe that right there. Okay. So the creek. You can see it's way back in here. can see a part of it on that side of the tree. Now it comes through. I'm going to switch to a lavender. Oops. This is that lavender that I put up here. Just kind of make this little where this is going to go. And of course it's mostly lavender right in the front of that. And it splits up, kind of goes in different little directions. And some of it even kind of comes down and goes off down in there. This is just kind of getting in that indication of where the water is going to come through. Hello. Hello. Hello, everybody. And this piece of it kind of comes across like that. So, you know, we're getting there, right? Got to get some layers going. But that's kind of a rough idea where that water will kind of be. Kind of hitting where the light's hitting. I'm kind of looking at how the light kind of hits certain parts and just kind of getting that in. This is just a light gray. Light gray. Try to make it move.